Hello everyone and welcome to Clair Astrology. I'm Clair, and in this video you're going to learn what it means to have natal Mars in your first house. I want to start this video by reminding you that the first house is the house of self. From an evolutionary standpoint, it's the start of a long journey and it requires self-awareness, self-survival, and self-protection. It's about our physical bodies just as much as the way we express our personalities out to the world. One thing I've noticed with this placement is that there can be a me first attitude. And it's generally not an attitude that goes away with time because Mars is always striving, pushing, and looking for the fastest route to the finish line. Mars people need movement and constant self improvement. So, although someone with this placement may be forced to slow their pace with age, they're likely not ever going to be completely content with inactivity or having to wait on others. People with Mars in the first house are competitive, athletic, and courageous. They can get hyper focused on their needs and goals and forget about everyone else's. This can make them perceived as selfish and self centered, but it can also make them have bravery, be brave enough to go fight a war, become a firefighter, or climb Mount Everest. These people need challenges and people who challenge them. Although patience and sympathy are not their strong suits, courage and bravery are. In the positive, these folks are highly motivated, eager to act, happy to stay moving, and willing to be the pioneer in a new field. In the negative, they may have a harder time in relationships because compromise and sympathy do not come naturally. They have to try harder to accommodate another's needs and ensure their partner feels seen, heard, and loved. One of the reasons it is hard to relate on an emotional level is because Mars in the first house people are wired for survival and acting on their instincts. Their energy is always forward moving, and they don't have time to dwell on emotions or the considerations of others. They hate stagnancy and can't understand people who are complacent and lazy. Lastly, they run hot and are quick to anger, so they need plenty of physical exercise to calm their nerves and release pent up emotions. People often feel uncomfortable around this person because, well, especially if Mars is in a fire sign or Scorpio, because he or she needs constant stimulation and has a hard time sitting still. Boredom is the worst enemy for a Mars in the first house person. Now, after saying all this, it's easy to think that Mars in the first house exhibits more negative traits than positive, but this is not the case. Every planet has good and bad traits. The question is, which ones are you consciously choosing to activate? Many professional athletes have Mars in the first house. Do you think they would have had the motivation and drive to reach that level of excellence if they hadn't pushed themselves hard or sacrificed some relationships in exchange for self mastery? I think what's important here is that you don't waste Mars's gift, which is incredible physical power and the initiative to excel. Mars can give you the self confidence to go against the grain and follow your dreams. But will you inevitably let some people down? Yes. Will you break some hearts and hurt some feelings? Yes. But if you can learn to accept these self focused behaviors and not ridicule yourself for having them, you will find much greater happiness in your life. After all, you were born with this placement for a reason. A few more considerations. You are not here to gain the approval of others or try and get them to like you. Rather, you are here to show them a new way to live, a way that involves thinking for yourself, being brave enough to make your own choices, and being willing to constantly challenge yourself to reach higher goals. The last thing I want to say about Mars in the first house is, what if you're an empath or a highly sensitive person? Or you were born with a Libra sun or a moon or a Cancer sun or moon or any other dominant sign that has nurturing, loving qualities. Well, in that case, You can soften the sharp edges that are so characteristic of Mars. You have the opposite traits built into your character that balance the masculine, aggressive energies in the first house and lessen the tendencies for you to be self absorbed and egocentric. I believe if you are an empath or a highly sensitive person and you have Mars in the first house, God gave you this placement because He knew you'd need it to stand up for yourself. You needed some warrior energy to tap into, to take your power back and protect your personal boundaries. Mars is exactly the planet for that role. Mars is where we draw on our strength, and in the first house, you draw on it from within. I hope you've enjoyed this video on Mars in the first house. If you have, feel free to leave a thumbs up or subscribe, and I look forward to sharing more with you soon.